Hey, good afternoon. Hope you're having a great day. So in this week's Torah portion of Shemot, we read the remarkable story of Pharaoh's daughter, Batya, and the way she single-handedly saves Moses, who becomes the greatest Jewish leader to save the Jewish people. Now the Torah tells us something very interesting. We all know Moses was born 3 months early to his mother Yocheved, who was able to hide him. But then Pharaoh and the Egyptian police came to check up. They knew she was having a baby, and they wanted to see if it was going to be a boy, which was the decree of drowning him in the Nile. So what did she do? When she realized that the 9 months were up, he was already 3 months old. She knew the police would come. So she put him into a basket, and she sent him onto the Nile, hoping that someone would have compassion upon him and save him. And lo and behold, Pharaoh's daughter Batya comes, and she sees a basket, and of course she knows what's going on. She's Pharaoh's daughter. And it says, Vatishlach es amasa. She sent her maiden, her servant, and she said, go get me the basket. And she sees that it's one of the Jewish, Hebrew, young, beautiful children. Vatachmoil olam. She had compassion upon him, the Torah tells us. And she takes him and she saves him. And we all know the story, the way he doesn't want to nurse from an Egyptian, and Miriam, who's watching from far, calls the mother Yocheved, who ends up nursing him till he's old enough to be sufficient, and goes to live with Pharaoh and Batya's daughter, Batya, Pharaoh's daughter, in the palace. But the word the Torah uses, it says, Vatishlach es amasa. Now the word amasa means a maiden, but it's not the usual word we would use for a maidservant. We would usually use shivcha. So the rabbis say, why do we use the word amasa? And the rabbis say that the word amma also has another interpretation, your arm. And the Midrash tells us this remarkable story, that the basket and the baby was in the distance and she couldn't reach it. But she stretched out her arm, and God made a miracle. Her arm stretched out even longer than it should, and she was able to reach Moses and save him. But the question is, why not use the regular interpretation that she literally sent her maidservant? Why say that her hand had to stretch or there had to be a miracle? In fact, we're taking away from the main story, which is the remarkable story of Batya, the daughter of the tyrant, who has the courage to save this Jewish child. Rabbi Simcha Bunim of Pshichsta, one of the great Hasidic masters, says something so powerful. He says, put yourself in Batya's shoes. Put yourself in the maidservant's shoes. Here you are, your father's the tyrant who decrees that a genocide against the Jewish people. And he gets the regular people involved. Imagine how much psyche he had to work on to get the simple person to go and be ready to drown the child. And you see this child, and you have compassion. Your heart tells you, oh, look at this beautiful child, I want to save him. But then your cognitive thinking comes in, and your mind tells you, I'm Pharaoh's daughter, I can't save him, there's a decree from the king. I have to let him drown. Think about at that moment, how out of reach this was from her. Maybe not physically. Maybe the baby was actually very close to her physically. But emotionally and on every other level, intellectually, this was so far out of reach from her to go and to save this child. And by the way, not only does she save him, she saves him and she lets him know when he grows up that he's a Jew. Says Reb Simcha Bunim of Pshichsta, the Midrash is teaching us something so powerful. Sometimes you see something and you look and it looks so far away from you, it's so distant, it's out of your reach, and you want to give up. Tells us the Torah, stretch out your hand. Vatishlach es amasa. She stretched her hand, and what happened? God made a miracle. The hand actually reached. She was able to get to where she wanted to. The message is an inspiration for each and every one of us. So often there's something that's out of our reach. It's beyond what we could accomplish. Instead of giving up and saying, no way, I'll never get there. Try. When you see a child crying, when you see a child in pain, and you say, how am I ever going to get there? I can't save them. Stretch out your hand, and God will do the rest. General Montgomery says, the hard tasks we do right away, and the very difficult we do a little later. It takes us a little more time, but we get it done. My friends, what greater message. As many of you are going on vacation, beginning a new secular year, there's so many things we want to accomplish and we want to do, but we're hesitant. Says God, tells us the Midrash, Reb Simcha Bunim tells us, stretch out your hand. Have the courage to start it. Have the courage to try. And God will miraculously make your hand stretch and you'll accomplish all those things you want to accomplish for good. Have a great day.